Welcome everybody to our Wellness Wednesday presentation tonight. One of the questions that I get all the time is, how do medical professionals feel about our products? So what we've done is invited some medical professionals to come and share their opinions on our the science, the nutrition, and our awesome DNA rapid drops. So please welcome tonight Tina D'Angelo and Michelle Stoneley. Take it away, ladies.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share the screen so that we can start on our introductions. And so can everyone see that? Perfect. So I just thought it'd be the easiest, quickest way since we've got a lot of information to cover tonight. I'm going to introduce myself, and then Michelle's going to introduce herself, and then we're just going to jump right into all the goodness. We're going to talk about science, negative ions, plant DNA, botanicals, and then we're going to jump right into every single drop. And I actually have a surprise at the end, so stick around, because I actually included our newest drop we should be getting here pretty soon, HPY, and I have a lot of extensive knowledge on that. So I'm excited to share more about that as well. So I'm Tina D'Angelo. I'm currently APLGO Corporate Director. I've been with APL for 13 months. I'm actually a medical imaging professional, and I have 22 years experience in a hospital setting. I have a BS in comprehensive medical imaging, and then I went back to school and got an AS in sonography. So that's what I currently do and specialize in is ultrasound. So I'm full body sonographer, but I also have licenses and experience in X-ray, CT, MRI, nuclear medicine. The reason why I love my profession is because I get to look inside of people's bodies all day long. And I tell people, I wish I could wave a magic wand over everyone and tell them exactly what your organs and your blood vessels look like, because people would start paying attention to their health immediately. I get to help the radiologist figure out those pieces of the puzzle and help them make the final diagnosis in what they see. I'm also currently a clinical advisor at the local colleges, so I also teach other ultrasound students. But most importantly, I'm a wife and a busy mama of 4, ages 4 to 22. So I definitely have my plate full. But I can't say enough about what these drops have done so much for my own health and my family's health in the last year. Take it away, Michelle.
Sorry about that, I was muted. So my name's Michelle Stoneley. I'm a corporate director here at APLGO as well. I have been with APLGO for 11 months. It's a year in November, right around Thanksgiving. It's been a wild, amazing, beautiful ride with APLGO. The thing that attracted me to APLGO was partly because of my background. I'm a radiation oncology nurse at Johns Hopkins. I'm a cancer survivor. And so both of those things really lined up with APLGO. I have a lot of cancer history or family history with my father passing from cancer. So I was drawn to oncology as a profession while I was in nursing school. My father-in-law passed from cancer as well. And so I get to help patients every day go through the struggle of diagnosis, treatment, survivorship. It's a really beautiful calling. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to serve in that capacity. When I was in school, I actually went back to school in my 30s. I had kids when I was really young, and I was a landscaper before that. So I did not go back to nursing school until I was in my 30s. And it was a really big challenge. I was there on full scholarship, so I had a lot of work to do to maintain that. I had 2 young children, and I was able to graduate summa cum laude and be class president. And I take my my studies, not just in school, but in life, very seriously. So studying these drops has been such a pleasure. It makes me feel like I'm back in school. I'm a registered nurse. Like I said, I was a landscaper. So for me, science isn't just about medicine, it's about plants. I love plants and botany. And so these drops they just tick all the boxes for me. And currently, like Tina said, we're both moms with kids. My kids are both grown, they're out of the house. And so my newest responsibility is we own a farm. We just bought a farm. So we're restoring a farmhouse, and it's keeping us really busy in addition to the business here with APLGO and bringing these drops into people's lives. So I feel really grateful and blessed to be here tonight with all of you.
Thank you, Michelle. So before we get into it, which I'm so excited because I'm going to geek out on the science behind the CUMA-SA, and I'm so excited to share more about that. But Michelle and I would just like to say that before we talk, these are our professional opinions based off our own personal research and medical backgrounds and experiences. We are independent APLGO associates who recommend products based on known benefits of botanical ingredients. We are not diagnosing, attempting to cure, prevent, or treat any diseases or conditions. Always seek out your personal physician for medical advice. Okay, we got that out of the way. Now we can chat. So negative ions, okay? This is the key to the powerful and immediate health benefits that the APL lozenges that we're going to talk about is made possible by the CUMA-SA technology. So we actually have the world's first and only supplementation using this anion plant DNA. This innovation has actually been around for quite a while. They've been using it in Eastern Europe for over 10 years. And of course, we're just hearing about it now because don't Europeans always figure it out first? Anion is also referred to as negative ion. So that's what we're going to be using tonight. We are constantly surrounded by ions and we don't realize it. Negative ions are good and the positive ions are bad. It's the only time you'll ever think the opposite of positive. Negative ions come from nature. You feel them in the forest, on a hike, near a waterfall, standing next to the ocean. That's why you'll hear so many people say the ocean is their happy place, right? There's a reason for it. After a lightning storm, you're going to feel the negative ions, you're going to breathe them in. And here's something fun. You know, when you're in a shower and it makes you feel that clean, rejuvenating feeling, you're actually getting negative ions as the drops are crashing against the surfaces. And it makes you feel good. So the sheer number of ions you breathe in is healing, and it causes you to feel clear-minded and it revitalizes you immediately. Lightning creates the largest number of negative ions, and there's a reason why the earth, the plants, the soil, the rocks, the water, trees, air, most everything in nature needs the lightning for its revitalizing energy and its ability to constantly rejuvenate and renew. So there's a famous scientist, Nikola Tesla, who actually discovered the existence of negative ions almost 150 years ago, but nobody really paid attention back then. He also proved their unique healing benefits and was one of the first to observe how they help overcome depression, sleep issues, weight loss, concentration, athletic performance, basically all the areas of personal health and well-being. And negative ions are still continuing to be studied and used today. Negative ions are nature's largest free radical defense. A free radical can cause cell change that can lead to the disorders that we experience symptoms from, like, diseases and even cancer. Unfortunately, we are also bombarded daily and more than ever by the positive ions. These positive ions are actually the free radicals, such as the hot desert wind, cell phones, computer screens, pollution, smog, radio and television transmitters, cell towers, power lines, and any environmental aggressor. This is why people who actually live near the ocean or near mountains live an average of 10 years longer than people living in the city. Who wants to live longer? I sure do. Lucky for us, each one of these drops is infused with powerful negative ions, and once inside the bloodstream, via the mucous membranes in our mouths, they produce a biochemical reaction that creates a level of mood chemical serotonin. And this helps alleviate the depression, the stress, it boosts energy. And those that use these drops are now realizing why they feel so dang good. So let's talk about plant DNA. Why is that important to the APLGO? So in order to harness the negative ion energy and get it directly to the bloodstream, there's another key component, and it is the power and partnership with the botanical plant DNA. Plants are actually a perfect negative ion receptacle and transmitters. Plants are, during the APLGO process, they actually recreate a lightning storm, which produces the negative ions. Then while extracting the plant DNA, that energy is actually infused and contained, making the plant DNA living and active. So plant DNA is so minuscule that it actually can pass through the mucous membranes in our mouth. The reason why, this is why they use the delivery in lozenge form. By bypassing the digestive system altogether, it now can enter the bloodstream and is able to penetrate the cell barrier using the power of negative ions, making our product, this drop, almost 100% absorbable. This bioavailability has never been possible until now. It's actually mind-blowing good when you start to think about it. There is currently no scientific measurement for plant DNA. It has the most potency possible from a living plant. It holds all the micros, the macros, the phytonutrients, the antioxidants, minerals, vitamins that a botanical can give your cells. This is why when people say how much potassium, how much vitamin D, how much vitamin C, how much of this and that is in these drops, it's all encompassed inside that particular plant DNA. Instead of taking 50 pills to get all the minerals and vitamins, we get all the goodness from one botanical. And we're going to be discussing more about the health benefits in a little bit. So plants are here on the earth to nourish our bodies. So it makes perfect sense that plant DNA is very biocompatible with human cells. It's actually almost a perfect match to our own. Plant DNA is smart. It knows where it needs to be utilized, and it will find and fill in the deficiencies in our own cells, even in our own genetic blueprint. Nothing is wasted or overutilized by our bodies. If I don't know what's amazing, that is honestly the most amazing thing not to have to worry about. Is my body going to be able to absorb this? Am I going to be peeing this out in the toilet? You are not ingesting the fleshy part of the crushed up plant or an extract. It's actually the interactions of the plant proteins in your stomach and intestinal juices that cause side effects like nausea and certain allergic reactions. That's why when you swallow a handful of pills, some people say, I feel sick. It's because you're going through the digestive process. We've actually found that a lot of people who are allergic to certain ingredients are able to take it in plant DNA form because there's no fleshy proteins in plant DNA. But always err on the side of caution while experimenting with your own body. And you can't overdose on plant DNA. I had a friend whose child took the entire box of Grow and ate it all up. 30 drops at once. She freaked out and called me and said, oh my goodness, what do I do? I said, nothing. He just had some really expensive candy. And that's what's so amazing about this product. Anyone can use it. So let's talk about chemicals and medications. They actually mask symptoms by turning off certain cell receptors that cause the pain. Like if you're having anxiety, whatever it is, it will find certain medications are targeted to work with those cells. However, when a cell gets turned off by a chemical, the other cells around them freak out. And this is what causes side effects. That's why there's all the list of side effects from a chemical. And that's why there's always another chemical medication right around the corner to combat that side effect. And it becomes a never-ending cycle. The chemical is a quick fix, a Band-Aid, but it does nothing to address the underlying cellular concern that could be causing the symptoms in the first place. By using anion plant DNA, you can also relieve these same symptoms like pain, anxiety, sleep, etc. But instead of masking that cell, you're actually nourishing it and directly with the botanical that has the right minerals and vitamins that it needs. So the good news is the cells that surround the deficient cells are happy to see this much needed nutrition, so there's no side effects. Some health concerns and symptoms take longer to address depending on the symptom and the current state of one's health, the time it took to cause the damage, disease, masking of other medications, and even hydration can play a role. However, the health benefits are immediate, whether people feel them immediately or not. And people are achieving relief in their health goals faster, easier, and tastier than ever. Wouldn't you agree, Michelle?
100%, absolutely. I love talking about plants. Like I said, I was a landscaper, so let's talk about plants a little bit. Plants are such a versatile, diverse way for us to get nutrition. I'm going to tell you a quick experience I had with a prospect. This was months ago, and we'll just call him Joe. So Joe is a super healthy guy. Joe is a fitness trainer. He's a health coach. About 6 years ago, he lost 50 pounds, adopted a whole food lifestyle, and he's never looked back. And so I approached Joe about the botanicals, about these drops. And Joe said, I don't think people need supplements. He just said, I don't think people need them. I think if they eat right and they exercise and they sleep adequately, then they're good. They don't need anything. And I just said, Joe, I have to disagree with you. And so let's talk about why I disagree with Joe. In the chat room, I want you to just give me a little hands up or a yes if you know what soil depletion is. Anybody know what soil depletion is? All right. So how about before you joined APLGO, did you know what soil depletion was? Not many people know what it is. I'm glad to see so many do. So soil depletion is something, it's a phenomenon we experience right now where our farming, our agriculture department, or industry has over-farmed the land. So I come from farming family. Both my husband and my grandparents were farmers. I grew up on their farm eating their whole beautiful organic foods. And let me tell you, in 1980, if I ate one of my grandmother's apples, it would have been 4. It would have taken me 26 apples today to get the same iron levels that I got in 1980 from eating that apple. Why is that, right? So we're not getting the same nutrition that our parents and our grands and our great-grands got. There's a study done in 1999 by Texas A&M group, and they looked at botanicals, they looked at plants, fruits, vegetables, and they measured then in 1999, the level of nutrients and minerals that were in those botanicals and those fruits and vegetables. What they found was that from 1950 to 1999, there was a massive decrease in the levels of those nutrients, massive. And what they were finding is even going back 30 years prior to that to 1930, it was even more exaggerated. So what happens is we have such a vast, I would say an overpopulation in a lot of parts of the world. So food sourcing has gone up. The need for food has gone up. We also use a lot of fruits and vegetables in processes. So for example, we're using corn to make high fructose corn syrup. We're using it to make fuel. So all these different things, we don't give our soil time to rest. Historically, we would give soil, we would give farmland time to rest. We would move to different pastures. We would plant crops that actually add nitrogen back to the soil, but we don't do that anymore. We over farm and we over fertilize synthetically. We have too many pesticides. The carbon dioxide levels in the environment are higher. Those are soaked up into the soil. And all of that depletion affects the nutrient content of our food. So think about that for a minute. If the food that we're eating isn't getting the nutrient because that topsoil is depleted, do you think when you eat a tomato that came out of the grocery store that was picked somewhere else across the world when it wasn't quite ripe and it wasn't at its peak harvest, compared to you picking a tomato out of your own garden where you are organically growing it, what's the difference? We're talking about a vast difference between nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and also negative ions. The second that that fruit comes off the plant or out of the ground, it starts to lose its charge. So like Tina talked about, negative ions, they're so beneficial to us, but in our foods, and they're so prevalent in foods when they're picked and eaten at peak season, but we get so much of our food from somewhere else in the world. So if you think getting your whole food nutrition solves the need for any kind of supplementation, let me just say, I beg to differ. One of the things I think that's really important is to see that plants, fruits and vegetables, botanicals, all of them they're excellent ways to get the food source that we are, to get the nutrients that we need, but they don't quite make the mark, right? They don't match up to what they were before. So we can't eat our way to healthy anymore. We can't eat the things that are in the grocery stores or at farmers markets and think that we're set. From that study in 2004, the reliable declines that they found were across the board with protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, vitamin C, B2, and it's happening not just in the United States, it's globally. We're seeing this happen globally. So I want you to think for a minute about why APLGO drops are so special. Tina talked about the plant DNA. She talked about the negative ions. What makes those two things so special and the combination of those? As I thought about this today, I was thinking, we have this bridge from where we want to be, and we have this bridge to where we are. If you eat healthy and you exercise and you sleep enough and you're hydrated and you do all of those things just like you should be, you're still not going to get to your goals. Not in a way that's reliable where you can count on it. This bridge between those two places can be met by APLGO. And I say that because the phytonutrients that come from the DNA that's in these botanicals have so many benefits. When we go through the drops piece by piece in a little bit here, you're going to hear about antioxidants, you're going to hear about anti-inflammatory, repair to DNA, detoxification. There's so many things that the plant DNA can do that is lost as we pick that fruit and let it sit on a shelf. The other thing that it really does for us is it helps boost intercellular communication. So as our bodies are reproducing cells and as we're basically creating these carbon copies of our cells, we have mistakes that are made. And that plant DNA goes in and it splices itself in and it fixes and repairs those cells. And it's made more readily available through these phytonutrients that we have in the DNA. One of the things I want you to understand is that not all nutrients, like a phytonutrient, isn't essential for life. We have to have proteins and fats and carbohydrates. But one of the things that phytonutrients does is it helps fight off the damage that comes from free radicals. Tina mentioned free radicals. She mentioned how they break down cells. They actually speed up aging. And phytonutrients can help balance that. They can help fight off things. I'm not saying it cures it, of course, but it can help decrease the likelihood of developing cancers, heart disease, things like that, a lot of different ailments. So that's super important to remember. Next slide, Tina. But I want you to think about something. Another thing that one of my, that Joe, my buddy, mentioned about these drops that he didn't think was a valid thing for a supplement to have was sugar. And I thought this was pretty interesting because Joe's a pretty savvy guy with what he takes in. And we all know that not all sugars are created equal. So the picture here with the added sugars versus the natural sugars. If you were to Google sugars, types of sugars, names of sugars, I can guarantee you could come up with at least 36 different names of sugars. Let me give you a couple examples. See if you recognize these from the backs of your cereal box or your coffee, your tea, your yogurt. We have high fructose corn syrup or regular corn syrup. We have brown rice syrup, malt syrup, barley malt, doesn't even have syrup in it. Evaporated cane juice. We have refined sugar, brown sugar, raw sugar, which a lot of people think raw sugar is super healthy for us, and it's not necessarily. We have white granulated sugar like you see in the picture. And then we have some natural sugars. We have agave, we have honey, we have molasses, maple syrup. These are all things that are found in nature. Let me tell you the difference between these different types of sugar, because not all sugars are created equal. First of all, when we're talking about sugars, let me tell you about a PET scan, and Tina could attest to this. A PET scan is a scan that we do often in the cancer center. And that shows us where we have really high metabolic activity. So your brain lights up like a Christmas tree on a PET scan, and your kidneys do too, and so does your bladder. Those are 3 areas that we just see, they just light up hot as can be. And that's because they're very metabolic. Your kidneys are very metabolic. Your brain needs glucose. People think glucose is bad. They think all sugars are bad. Well, glucose it's really the preferred source of sugar, of energy for our cells. We get that from fruits, from vegetables, from honey, from those natural sugars. Fructose also is another form that we get naturally. Who here is lactose intolerant? That just means my body can't digest the dairy sugars that are there in yogurts, that are there in milk. So there's sugar in our dairy, there's sugar in our fruit, it's in our vegetables even. Sugar isn't bad. Sugar is a form of a carbohydrate. Our bodies need carbohydrates, and it's an essential nutrient that we need to function. Have you ever gotten hangry? Your body is really deprived of glucose. Say you're going all whole foods, you've taken out all sugars you can possibly think of, and you start to feel a little hangry, especially those first couple of days. That is your body. Exactly, Kristen. So hangry. I have 2 sisters that get so hangry. We have a joke in our family about it, but it's that their blood sugars drop and their brains need that glucose. So I want you to think about the difference between a simple and a complex carb, and that really it's about how they're absorbed and digested. And complex carbohydrates are these natural sugars we get. They're simple in some way, and they're complex in others. So added sugars, the one on what is my left, have no nutritional value, 0. You put cubes of sugar in your coffee, or you put scoops of raw sugar thinking you're doing yourself a favor, they have no nutritional value. You put a little bit of honey in there, maybe some molasses, beet juice, they've got some vitamins, you've got some minerals. I still wouldn't go bonkers with it, but you get some good antioxidants. There's different things in our natural sugars that benefit our bodies. But again, those added sugars, no benefit. Okay, so go back to your chat. I want you to put a number in the chat group, in the chat right here. How much added sugar, we're not talking the beautiful natural sugars that we get from our fruits, our vegetables, and those natural sweeteners. I want to talk about the added sugar, things that you get in your coffee, your tea, your yogurt, even your Doritos. How many added sugars do you think the average American takes in a single day? Give me some numbers. Let's see who gets it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a hint. An average woman in America should take in about 25 added sugars max. So 5,000 is a teeny bit high. We're just talking grams. All right, Kirk's pretty close. 77 grams a day is the average American. That comes from, like I said, sodas, coffees, teas, power drinks, all sorts of little boosters that you see on the shelves in the grocery store to help give you extra energy, which then causes you to crash hard as a rock when you're done. So when we're talking about these sugars, when we're talking about how much we take in, when I hear people talk about how they're worried that our drops have sugar, I want you to be able to talk to them about why we're not worried about that. And when we go to the bottom of this slide, ask yourself, why do we use molasses and beet juice to sweeten our drops? Here's the big answer. With APLGO, there are nobody, put a bunch of sugars in a hat and pulled one out and said, all right, let's use molasses. So much thought and so much care has gone into the ingredients and into the recipes that make up these drops, that when our scientists looked at what they could use to give these drops a palatable, delicious flavor and a taste, they chose two of the best natural sweeteners that they could find. And let me tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of Dwight Schrute's schooling on beets tonight. So beets have huge health benefits. I'm going to go through these kind of fast so we have time to go through the drops. One of the things that I've known about beets for a long time is that they actually help athletic performance. Athletes take beet juice in 2 to 3 hours before they perform. And they do that because it improves their oxygenation. It improves their O2 output, and it helps reduce stress on the body's muscles. So taking it in powdered form or beet juice, like a liquid straight from the plant, really helps those two things with athletic performance. It actually increases blood to the frontal lobe of the brain, which actually slows dementia down. And there have been many, many studies about this, that dementia can be staved off to some degree, or at least slowed down the development by ingesting beets or taking in beets. The frontal lobe is in charge of decision-making. It's in charge of memory. And so our frontal lobe, just the vascular health and the vascular flow to our frontal lobe is greatly increased by beets. There's high iron, magnesium, sodium, zinc, potassium for muscle and nerve function is massively important. Beet is one of the highest antioxidant fruits or vegetables. It is a fruit. It's a free radical scavenger. It just goes after those free radicals in our bodies and it just destroys them. It has high folate for women who are pregnant or nursing or looking to get pregnant. High in those phytonutrients we talked about already. It helps with vascular health, blood pressure. It's a fantastic anti-inflammatory. So when you look at these drops that you're taking in and you feel just a smidge bit guilty for how good they taste, think of all of the incredible things you're getting from the beets that are sweetening up these little drops. And they're sweetening it up to the tune of 1 gram of sugar per drop. Now moving on to molasses. APLGO uses blackstrap molasses. So molasses is a byproduct of cane sugar. So it's after it's been boiled down multiple times, you get kind of the bitter byproduct. The crazy thing is that sugar cane is a simple sugar. There's really no nutritional value. And in light and even dark molasses, still really very low nutritional value. But blackstrap molasses, that third boiling of it, is amazing. It has tons of nutrients and tons of vitamins. We're talking like a tablespoon. I'm not telling you to take a tablespoon of blackstrap molasses, but it has iron, calcium, magnesium, selenium, potassium, B6. It has a low glycemic index. The scientists at APLGO, they knew this. They knew that the glycemic index would be very minimal, the movement of that with your blood sugar when you take these drops, compared to eating like a refined sugar. It helps with bone health, antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, improves sleep, a digestive aid. So all the botanicals that you're getting in these drops are only enhanced by the use of the molasses and the beet juice to sweeten the drops. So think of that when someone comes to you and says, well, your drops have sugar. They have a whole gram per drop. Well, you could eat every single drop, 15 drops a day. You wouldn't even come close to the maximum added sugars you should be taking in, or that you should be mindful of every day. I love that our APLGO scientists really did their due diligence, that they figured out what the best sweeteners for these drops would be. So you can go to your prospects, you can go to your family and have confidence that you are giving them something, even with those natural sweeteners, that is good for them. All right, so you get to hear me talk some more. I'm going to talk about alt. I love alt. Alt, I think, is a drop, and I won't say this about all of them, but I think alt is a drop that everybody should be taking. When we talk about alt, everyone instantly goes to respiratory, right? Alt is not just about respiratory. It's not just about breathing. When we talk about the systems of the body that are benefited by alt, we're talking about immune. I think alt and grow are sisters. They have so many of the same properties with immune boosting, with help with breathing, vitality, a feeling of improved mood. Look at those botanicals. We've got mangosteen. There have been many studies about mangosteen and how it can help actually break up kidney stones. That's not my opinion. There are many, many studies that show that kidney stones can be actually broken up and not have to be passed. Ginger root, currant, ashberry, green tea, these are high antioxidants. They help with oxygenation. I take alt before I go to the gym, and they help with allergens. You know, the pollutants and the allergens in our environment can really be benefited by taking alt every day.
Thanks for that, Michelle. I just wanted to backtrack a minute. I actually love that we use the all natural sugars. I have a lot of friends of mine who are worried about the sugars because of keto or whatever. And I just want to say that our drops only have 6 calories and less than 1 grams of sugar, but it's metabolized in the body the same way an apple would be. So I always say, would your doctor tell you eating an apple is bad for you? Right? A medium-sized apple has 19 grams of sugar, and you would have to have a ton of drops to even get that much in your system. And the other reason with bypassing the digestive system is I think people don't realize when they swallow their vitamins and pills, it takes 24 to 72 hours to digest what's going through your body. And traditional methods of the digestive process can take up to 3 months for cell turnover and change. And with APLGO drops, we have immediate change. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. So BRN, Brainy, or Brain, is actually a cafe delight flavor. This one helps with anything that's cognitive. Think of brain fog, focusing, alertness, staying on task, memory, dementia, ADD, ADHD, Alzheimer's. I have a daughter she's now 14. She started taking these when she was 13, and we got her actually off of her Adderall because she's diagnosed with ADD, and she started getting straight A's. You don't know how good that makes you feel as a parent to be able to have an alternative, holistic, all natural product that can be used and have almost the same, if not better results. In fact, better, because the side effects from the chemicals that we were combating were just horrendous. So I am forever grateful for BRN. Some of the amazing, there's a ton of ingredients in this one. There's over 20 different botanicals. I just want to highlight a couple of them. Ashwagandha is a very powerful botanical that we hear about all the time. You're going to see it a lot in a lot of our drops. This is one of the most important healing herbs. It's actually considered a superfood, and it promotes cognitive function and helps with nerve cells, memory, all the good brain stuff. Ginkgo biloba is in this one. Ginkgo improves memory, it reduces anxiety, it improves blood circulation, it can alleviate headaches, it actually slows the aging process, and it's protective to the nerve cells in the brain. Ginseng is another amazing botanical, stimulates the brain, improves mental and physical performance, again, protects nerve injury, and it's actually preventative to strokes. Green tea leaf is a great antioxidant, and it actually suppresses cell mutation and prevents blood vessel narrowing. There's just so many amazing good things in here, like turmeric and damian leaf. And so we could talk about this one all day long, but we are going to move on to our next slide.
Beauty. All right. So beauty is a great one. Beauty and brain are two of our heaviest hitters. A lot of the same botanicals that you'll see in brain are also in beauty. Beauty is a yummy tea mate and strawberry. It's one of my favorite flavors. It also has the turmeric. It has the ashwagandha. We've got other things like apple, which helps with blood sugar, green tea, which is a great antioxidant. And some of the other things that we see with beauty, most people think of beauty as a woman's drop, that it helps with hair and skin and nails and softens wrinkles. But beauty should be something that people see as not just for women. It has a great immune response and cellular renewal kick. So it really helps not just the grow and the alt, but beauty can really help with your immune response. It also helps against free radical damage. When we talk about, wrinkles, things like that, a lot of the time we have that happen because of free radical damage. And if we are combating against that, not only are we, getting rid of wrinkles, yahoo, but we're also fighting against our cellular turnover and our cells aging too rapidly. We see a lot of collagen products on the market right now. Beauty actually goes in and it helps with collagen production naturally. So it's great to be drinking collagen like you see a lot of people are taking pills, but it's not going to the cells as quickly as our beauty drop is, because our beauty drop can go past the digestive system, go straight into the bloodstream, and it helps stimulate that collagen production. So don't think of beauty as just a woman's drop or just one that's for hair, skin, and nails. It really does have a lot more with immuno response, with cellular vitality, energy. There's just a lot of great things in beauty. So yes, it's a drop for all of those that want to age backwards, but it has a lot of other great ones like aloe vera, avocado, grape. There's some really fantastic botanicals in there.
Yes, I love beauty. I mean, obviously, who doesn't want to look more beautiful? I get tons of people that stop me and ask me about my hair, lashes, skin. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm almost 46 and I tell people about this product all day long. I can't get enough of it. So let's talk about GRW Grow. It is actually grape flavored. This is one of my family's most favorites. It was voted the #1 immunity product out of 423 products globally from Business from Home. And there's a reason why, because it does work. My 4-year-old, she calls it her candy medicine. So this is the one that she gets to take every day. And we've had all kinds of sicknesses. We've had COVID through our house twice. The girl goes to preschool and daycare and she is never sick. And if she gets a sniffle, I just give her one of these, maybe an ALT, and she's usually better within a few hours. It's incredible how fast it works. Grow helps with the body's natural immune system response. It also helps with skin and hair and all the things. And it actually helps with just an overall feeling of well-being. I actually recommend this a lot with people who have autoimmune disorders, because people who have autoimmune disorders usually have a poorly functioning autoimmune response. So there's so many benefits to this one. Again, it has the ashwagandha, it has aloe leaf in it, which removes toxins and promotes rapid healing. It helps enhance immunity. It has the balsam pear, which also helps with immune functions and resistance. It has the cranberry, which helps with inflammation, infections. It's antibacterial. And you can actually see why Sergey, our owner, and his scientists put all these amazing botanicals in these certain blends. Pomegranate seed helps with infections. It actually is a natural fever reducer. Reishi mushrooms. You hear a lot about these mushrooms. They help promote longer, healthier life. And it helps with healing and the body's natural ability to fight diseases and boost immune cells. This Grow does not get enough credit, in my opinion.
I completely agree. I think Grow is another one. Grow and Alt together are some of the heaviest hitters we have. They're like Ashley said, her daughter who still sucks on her fingers has only been sick once since starting the drop. And I think that anybody who takes Grow, like you said, Tina, I get a tickle. And because I'm a nurse, I'm around people who are sick all day long, every day. I haven't been sick. I didn't take one sick day in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. I haven't taken one in 2021. The only time that if I feel even a tiny little tickle in my throat, I take an Alt, I take a Grow, and it's gone. And I have an exchange student that lives with us, and she's been sick for about 10 days and haven't gotten any of it. And we have dinner around the table together. And I think Grow is really underestimated for how incredible it is. But let's move on to GTS. GTS is Get Strength. GTS is one that I think most people think of as our pre-workout drop. It's something that really helps with vitality and stamina. I do take it before I go to the gym. I'm not a coffee drinker. And so if I don't go to the gym in the morning, I still take a GTS in the morning when I'm sitting at my desk to just kind of wake me up a little bit, give me some energy. Cindy says it helps in the morning. It completely does. And it really helps with metabolism. I think a lot of people don't realize, as we age, our metabolism slows down quite a bit, and taking GTS can really boost it. The green tea, the antioxidant that's in the green tea, can really help with metabolism, as can ashwagandha. It helps with mood. I think a lot of people, we take these espressos, we take rock stars, we do all these crazy things and put heavy chemicals into our bodies, and then we crash afterwards, right? So Michelle says she takes it in the afternoon. I think it's great. A lot of us hit that 2 o'clock slump, right? Pamela says that little pick me up, a cup of coffee would keep her up all night, but GTS is just gives a little boost of energy, and it kind of slowly eases out of your body so you don't have the jitters or the crash afterwards. One of the things I think that's super good or really important with GTS is the stamina. You can go to the gym. Cindy said she takes it before her trainer kicks her butt twice a week. And it really does help with your physical and mental stamina, which are both important in the gym. And if you're at work and you have an important board meeting, I popped 2 brain before tonight. And I also took a GTS because I knew both would give me energy. It would give me focus and clarity. I think, GTS isn't just about pre-workout. So kind of play with that when you're looking at what you might take GTS for. Yes, it's great for the gym, but it can also be for that midday boost, or, just if you are about to head off onto a meeting, something like this, and you need a little bit of energy.
Yes, and I agree. I have a lot of medical professional friends that work those 10, 12-hour shifts, and this job just helps them push through that really long day. I actually had a friend whose husband is really into weightlifting, super buff, and he said since taking this one drop, he's able to lift heavier weight. So it does do something at a cellular level that we could never get from just the traditional ingesting all that, stuff that the athletes like to take. So HPR, Hepper.
Real quick, Cindy asked what botanical gives the boost. It's not just one botanical, Cindy. It's a combination of those. Ginseng certainly helps, but there's also the ashwagandha. There's a number of those that, working in conjunction with each other, really do create that boost, that physical energy.
So HPR is actually peach flavor. This one is really utilized. I actually think it's one of the ones that everyone should be taking. It actually helps with natural detox and cleansing process, but this is the one that helps with your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys, your pancreas, all those organs that are doing all that filtration and elimination. I personally see a lot of liver damage. The liver can take a beating before you'll ever feel it. People never treat something until they feel it, but the damage is there so many years before. I see gallstones, I see fatty liver, elevated liver enzymes, cholesterol. Cholesterol is actually produced in the liver. So if you have, increased cholesterol, you should be taking HPR. It is going to help reboot the liver and get some of those toxins and get it performing the way it should, along with all the other organs that are surrounding and working with the liver. This one has some amazing botanicals in it as well. Artichoke, which improves insulin secretion, helps with diabetes. It's a natural laxative. So this is why this one keeps you really regular. People suffer from constipation or diarrhea. It's kind of like that equal balancer. It also has the dandelion root, again, a natural diuretic, a laxative. It helps release the poisons and the toxins. Turmeric root, we don't We have a lot of that in a lot of our botanicals. It actually helps with the liver a lot, and it actually helps break down fat. So your liver actually is your body's system of breaking down and metabolizing fat. That's why people end up with fatty liver, because that's where it sticks, which indirectly sometimes causes that cholesterol to get high. Turmeric can also help prevent type 2 diabetes, and it's an amazing anti-inflammatory. And this one is, so I'm going to just throw this out here because a lot of people don't think about it. But I had a friend who had a really bad case of psoriasis. She'd been to the dermatologist, creams, everything for years. Nothing would cure it. So usually people that have chronic skin conditions, disorders, it's because their liver is poorly detoxifying. So your toxins come out through the liver or through the skin. So people that usually have skin conditions, it's not the actual skin condition, it's an underlying issue, and it usually has something to do with the way the body processes toxins through the liver. So she took HPR for a month, and her psoriasis that could never be cured with any cream or ointment, her dermatologist couldn't figure out, started disappearing on its own. So you can tell the powerful benefits that we have in these drops and what they actually can do for people.
Tina, I love that you covered that, because Kristen actually asked that very question, if the psoriasis that she had could have been cleared up by HPR. So yes, it definitely can. That organ, our skin, is the largest organ, and it manifests a lot of different things happening inside of our bodies on its surface. So I'm going to talk about heart. Now, heart was a drop that I did not take for a long time. When I first started trying different drops, my blood pressure was normal. I was fine. At least I thought I was. But as a nurse in a pandemic, I started noticing my blood pressure going up. And last October, I was preparing for surgery. So I was going through my pre-workup, and my blood pressure was just slightly elevated. And then in my post-op visit, it was a little more elevated. And by December, it was higher than it had ever been in my entire life. I think very much in part to the stress that I was dealing with in my profession. And I decided I would just give HRT a try. I had always had normal blood pressure. I'd always had good vascular health, but I added HRT. I actually added it twice a day because I was in the 145/90 range. It really, really scared me to see numbers like that with my blood pressure. And after taking HRT twice a day for a month, my numbers started coming down. And after another month, I was back to normal numbers. So I went to 1 a day. And even on 1 a day, my numbers started going lower than they had ever been, like 105/60. I didn't have any dizziness. I had nothing like that. But HRT completely rectified my blood pressure issues. That's not a health claim for what the drop will do for everyone, but for me personally, I did see benefits to my vascular and circulatory health. I continue to take HRT to this day, and I check my blood pressure every day. As a nurse, knowing my numbers is really important to me. And so I just added HRT. I think if you are predisposed for jobs that have high stress levels, if you have a history or a family history of high blood pressure, hypertension, circulatory or vascular issues, HRT is a really good one to add. Raspberry is a high antioxidant, and mistletoe is a really underutilized botanical, in my opinion. We see it a lot in cancer treatments. Pomegranate, wild strawberry, both antioxidants. So this is a really great one to help, get that elasticity back into the vascular system and help just, not just bring your numbers back to normal, but keep them normal without having to take chemicals in. Jen says it's helped her with her platelets. That's awesome. It really does help with all of those different areas of the vascular system. So, when you're working out and you're wanting to kind of increase your stamina and boost your cardio health, HRT can also help with that. So I think it's one that most people look at and think, I'm not going to take it because I don't have a high blood pressure, but we all could use a bit of a boost in our vascular and our cardio health.
Yeah, my husband takes this one because he has a strong family history of cardiovascular disease. And so heart actually has built-in protectants. So a lot of people don't know that it's extremely preventative. My stepdad actually took this consistently for 3 months, and he's post, heart surgery, He had a lot of swelling in his legs from water retention. And so he was on a bunch of medications. And his doctor actually took him off his heart meds and his water pills because HRT was doing the job, and his blood pressure actually got a little too low. So it's amazing what it can do when used, consistently and over time. So I'm going to talk about ice. How many people love this one? Oh my goodness. We don't even take the Tums anymore. What's the point, right? Throw those Tums in the garbage. This one works immediately. My husband, this is the one that made him a believer of of all the drops, because he would eat late at night and he would get a little heartburn. And, he'd take the Tums, he'd take like 4 or 5 Tums. And then he said, even if it did work, it'd come back in like 30 minutes or an hour. It never went away. And he took this ice, and in 5 minutes, his pain was gone and it never came back. I actually have a son who's on the spectrum, my oldest, and he suffers from a lot of digestive problems. He throws up a lot. He has, we believe he has Crohn's. And so he started using this one, and he uses it so much that his friends are asking him all about it now, because he can take it right when he feels nauseated, and it stops his digestive problems in its track. So ice obviously is for digestion, heartburn, bloating, gassiness, any type of stomach discomfort. Last year at Thanksgiving, we actually passed this around the table after eating. And then in 10 minutes, we were all ready for pie. It works that great. I'm telling you, it was awesome. It was a big hit. So there are actually some really great botanicals in this one that make it work so well. Chamomile actually improves digestive the system overall. It helps with gastric ulcers. It's a natural pain reliever, and it helps with stomach ache. Licorice root is also another natural pain reliever, and it helps with staph and bacteria. Meadow sweet leaf is anti-acid. It helps relieve stomach discomforts. Heartburn, again, natural pain reliever. Isn't it just amazing when we start to dive into these botanicals, how specifically they were picked for a specific blend and all the natural properties they have, and all together they work really, really well. So that is ice.
Tina, I don't know if you see it, but the chat room is blowing up. Everyone loves ice. It's the first one my husband actually took as well. He was an every night Tums kind of guy. And one night he was having it and Tums didn't do it. And he just said to me, do you have one of those little drops that would help with this? And I just knew the second he took it, he was going to be a believer. After 2 nights of him saying, can I have another one of those? He finally said, can I just have my own box? Mm-hmm. And it's one he keeps in his bag for work. He has a fairly high stress job, and he takes ice regularly. He doesn't take any of the others super regularly. He takes Power for Men, but ice is his go-to. We threw out the Tums. We just don't need them anymore. So.
Yep. And this is one of the ones that I always give everyone to sample, because you never know when you're going to need an ice, and they work.
And I think ice goes really well with this one right here, MLS. MLS, if I had to pick my top 3, this would probably be in my top 3. MLS is a multi-spectrum. So it could replace your multivitamin if you were looking to get rid of one of the pills that you swallow. It also is a prebiotic. So there's a lot of talk these days about probiotics and prebiotics. Well, probiotics need a prebiotic to work. So you could take all the probiotics in the world, but if you aren't giving something to the probiotic to feed it, like a prebiotic, it will not work, or it won't work as well. And so MLS is a prebiotic. Look at the botanicals in this drop. We've got so many good ones. Chamomile that we just talked about, turmeric. We've got cranberry, currant. We've got grapefruit, paprika, the pine nut we don't have anymore. We've taken that out for the US market. But we have ginger root, orange. I mean, there's so many that are antioxidants, that are anti-inflammatories. MLS is fantastic at really balancing the gut biome. I know Tina has talked about the Russians that she met in Panama, and the stories they would tell. In the US, we have a highly regulated food and agricultural industry, but other countries don't have that. And so there are a lot more prevalence of parasites and things like that MLS really can keep in check. And if you know about anything about your gut, we call it the second brain for a reason. And we call it the second brain because 90% of your serotonin is created in the gut. which means if your gut is a mess, your mood is a mess too. And not just your gut, but your whole digestive system. If you have an upset GI gut biome, you're going to have issues with probably teeter-tottering between constipation and diarrhea. You're going to have acid reflux, which is going to necessitate taking an ice. You're going to have mood issues. So you might have anxiety and need to relax. You might have problems focusing and need a brain, have, menstrual issues that are related to mood, and you need a power. I mean, there's so many drops that we can help all those symptoms, but you can prevent so many symptoms by balancing your gut biome. So I think this is one, and it's safe for children. I know a lot of people, discount that their kids might have something wrong, but like you said, Tina, your son might have Crohn's, and Crohn's is serious business. I think there's so much refined food that's in front of our kids in their schools and at their friends' houses. Even if we control what we put into their bodies, they're getting bombarded with things. So really important at a young age to make sure that they have a balanced gut biome. It helps us to stay healthier. If you have issues with toxicity or imbalance in your gut, you're also more prone to getting sick. Your immune system will be impacted by it. So Liesel says HPR and MLS, good combo for daughter for IBS. It really is. HPR, MLS, and ice. These are all three that could work together to create a really beautiful gut biome.
And I say it's my everyday go-to. If you have one drop where people are like, I just want a multivitamin, this would be it. MLS. Everybody needs healthy gut. It's the most overlooked. I can't say enough about, a lot of people's depression, anxiety. They want to treat it with all these medications. If they would just focus on their gut, a lot of that would just naturally go away on its own. So I'm going to talk about Norm, NRM. This is actually my favorite flavor. How many people love this one? I love apple. I don't know what it is, but this is my after lunch and after dinner treat. That's what I call it. All of our drops are actually natural appetite suppressants, but this one actually helps with your metabolism indirectly. So I find when I take one after a meal, I don't crave all those sugars and carbs, and I don't crave those late night sweets. But this is amazing for just balancing or lowering blood sugar levels naturally. How many people know someone that's type 1 or type 2 diabetic, or has all those glucose problems, right? Prediabetes is on such a huge rise. It's actually almost a pandemic because we're overfed and undernourished society, right? So our glucose is all over the place, and our pancreas takes a toll. Our pancreas takes a toll and it stops producing that insulin naturally. So Norm actually helps with not only regulating metabolism, but it helps bring some of that body's natural ability to start producing its own insulin. Again, that's why we have some amazing testimonials. If you go on APLGO community, you'll see someone with the blood glucose monitor. They'll check their numbers, suck on a Norm, and in 15 minutes, their numbers are dropping. And it tastes like candy. I have a friend who has two little boys, two sons, who are type 1, and their blood sugars, they're on insulin, but she says they have highs and lows throughout the day, and they can't have anything sweet or sugary. So the Norm just helps keep their blood sugars in balance, and they actually end up using less insulin, and the kids are happy because they get their little candy drop. So Norm has apple in it, which helps lower cholesterol, has tons of fiber. It has the fenugreek seeds, which is an anti-diabetic, and it helps with hyper cholesterol. The ginseng helps with the metabolic process, and it helps with conversion of carbs into energy, and it reduces fat and lowers LDL. There's just so many great botanicals in Norm, but I don't know. Do you have any stories about this one, Michelle?
Yeah, I think Norm is one that is really great for people who are looking to lose weight. We have this combination that we use with HPR, Power, and Norm. But Norm is good because most of, not most, but a lot of people who struggle with their weight, they struggle because their blood sugar is spiking throughout the day. So they're going through these spikes where they crash. It causes a craving. They take in more glucose, or more sugars to increase their energy. And so they're constantly battling this up and down. And Norm stabilizes that. And Norm helps with cravings. One of the best things I've heard is people taking Norm before bed, because often our blood sugar spikes low when we're sleeping. And so we wake up ravenously hungry. We're not in a fat burning state while we're sleeping when that happens. So taking Norm before bed can be really good at stabilizing your blood sugar while we're sleeping. I know we're getting really close to being at that hour, maybe a little bit over. So I'm going to go really fast through this next pair, not because I don't think it's important, but Power Men and Power Women, taken every day in this house. Both my children take Power Men and Power Women, obviously for male and female. Helps with mood, helps with energy. For my daughter, it helps with cycle issues. You know, she was a very heavy bleeder, which led to anemia. There were multiple times we would go to donate blood, and her red count was so low that she could not donate blood, months and months in a row. Since we've been on Power, she has had normal levels. Her energy's improved. She doesn't get the fatigue. She actually used to get bloody noses all the time and doesn't get them anymore. Prostate health has helped with Power for Men. And for women, Power for Women can really help with the adrenals. Women in particular struggle with adrenal fatigue. It's a very real thing that most women don't realize they're even suffering from. Power for Women can help with that. Ginkgo helps with the brain function. We've got ashwagandha there again. Ginger is a high antioxidant. So there's some really great power hitters there. Helps with mood, just general well-being and energy. I take Power when I go to the gym in the morning with my alt and my GTS. So I think these are ones, you know, if people say they take a Centrum for Men or a Centrum for Women or something like that, this is another great one to combine with your MLS and get all the same things. You get the hormone balance. Power is a really great pair.
Yeah, I have a really great testimonial on the community, APLGO community, if you guys want to go check it out. But I suffer from PCOS, and Power has completely changed my life. And I'm not even kidding about that. I actually also suffer from adult acne, which I know is hormonal related. And since taking this, my acne is completely under control, almost just disappearing. It's phenomenal. And I think men don't talk about testosterone and prostate. You know, they have hormones too, right? There's not a lot out there for them. And men need a good hormonal support that helps with their mood, energy, their lifestyle, libido. My husband Vince, he says he can't go a day without his Power. He takes it every morning when he wakes up, and he notices the differences immediately. And one of the other things about hormones is that it's the entire endocrine system. So this is the one that helps with thyroid function, adrenals, pituitary gland, and also all the hormones that the men and the women can have. So this is a great overall one that addresses that entire body system. So RLX, Banana Bliss, this is the one that started it all, you guys. This is the amazing drop that Sergey discovered when his friend was having a fear of flying. So RLX is great for anxiety. It helps with calmness and relaxation. All the negative ions are infused in all the drops, which have that help that relaxation and that calm feeling. But this one in particular just helps with that extra boost. So Americans, well, probably everyone right now, because of what's going on in the world, are way stressed out. I have so many people who tell me they cannot live without RLX. It just helps calm you down during the day. It doesn't make you feel groggy. You can take it at night. Does anyone just lay there and watch Netflix all night long because they can't turn their brain off? Your brain is constantly going and you can't shut it off. So RLX doesn't knock you out. All it does is just calm the brain down so you can relax, chill, and go to sleep. And it puts your body into REM sleep. So you guys notice, has anyone had some like crazy dreams after they take RLX? I had a friend that actually asked me if I gave her LSD because she said, I don't know what you did, but that stuff, I had the most crazy dream. Well, people are not dreaming anymore because they're not going into REM sleep. REM is where all of our body, our cells have its reparative process. So that's why you can sleep and sleep. and still not feel refreshed. I have people who will take this and go on 5-6 hours of sleep and feel like they had the best sleep of their life. My daughter has high anxiety. She takes this. It's safe for kids. I have a cousin who has a kid that's bouncing off the walls all day long. She loves this. It's such a natural aid. It's got the chamomile in it, the ginseng, the passion flower, which helps that calming, soothing effect. It helps with insomnia, anxiety. It's actually a natural sedative. And passion flower actually helps with epilepsy. There's just some really amazing goodness in these once you learn how to study up on all the botanicals.
Yeah, I think RLX is a really great one. People worry that it's going to make them fall asleep, but it doesn't. It's like you said, it quiets the brain. And that REM sleep, I was doing some research on sleep earlier this year. One of the things I learned is that our brains during REM sleep, it's when they actually store memory. So during the day when you've been doing things, you've been writing all these tasks down, you've been trying to remember what you need to do the next day. If you don't get good REM sleep, your brain doesn't have that backup. It's kind of like when you back up your phone at night while you sleep. If you don't get REM sleep, it doesn't get that memory boost. So think about young parents or, parents with a new baby and they're sleep deprived and they don't remember the whole first 6 months of the baby's life because they're so exhausted. They aren't hitting REM sleep on a regular basis. And so it's really, really important to make sure that even if we're not getting our 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, that we're getting good REM sleep, and Relax, the RLX does that. Liesel says right there, she starts her ER shift with a Relax because it helps with the anxiety and the stress. I love Slide. Slide is one of the ones that helped convince me that APLGO was the real deal. My mom has rheumatoid arthritis and I have real creaky knees. I was a runner for many, many years and did some wear and tear on my body. So I was taking ibuprofen on an almost daily basis. Tina's going to cover Stop next, but Stop and Slide, I think, are twins. They're sisters. Maybe not twins, but they're Irish twins. They really they complement each other so perfectly. Slide helps with joint health, bone health, inflammation. If I am feeling, because as a nurse, I do some lifting, I do a lot of standing on my feet. I have issues with my back sometimes, and I don't need to take any heavy hitters. I don't need to take even ibuprofen anymore. I pop a Stop and Slide combo and the inflammation is gone. And if I'm having a really, we're moving right now. And so I'm lifting furniture and boxes and all sorts of crazy things. And I can go to bed with a really tired back and a pair of Stop and Slide. I wake up feeling like $1 million. I tell you what, if you have aches and pains, if you're taking aspirin, Tylenol, ibuprofen, any of those types of anti-inflammatories, Stop and Slide are going to be your best friends. And for my mom, they got her from taking, 5 to 6 doses of pretty decent pain medication, prescription pain medication, to like 3 times a day Stop and Slide and 1 nightly dose at bedtime of the pain medication. So it to me is a lifesaver. Those things that we take, the aspirin, the ibuprofen, they're really hard on the gut. They really destroy the gut biome and that balance. And they're really hard on the kidney and the livers when we take them in these consistently large quantities. So Stop and Slide is a breath of fresh air in that you are not taking those into your gut and you're getting the same or better results.
Yes. And I couldn't agree more. The way I like to take Slide is I actually take it as a post-recovery. So as soon as I get done doing my workout, especially if I'm lifting heavy weights, I pop a Slide and I swear my soreness is cut by 75%. Normally, if I did a hard workout, I would be stiff the next day. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you take a Slide right after, it helps immediately with your muscle repair. And I always tell people this is really easy to learn it this way. Your Slide is your anti-inflammatory. So it's your pain reliever like an ibuprofen. So the Slide would be your ibuprofen and your Stop would be your Tylenol. So that's how they kind of work, the same way you would take a Tylenol or an ibuprofen. And I tell people, if you take an ibuprofen and a Tylenol, then take a Slide and a Stop. If you take 2 ibuprofen, take 2 SLD. It kind of has the same benefit in your body, but sometimes one isn't enough. And sometimes you need the extra boost to actually cut the pain, or you need that second dose, especially in the beginning, because your cells are not used to getting the nourishment and now it is. So it needs a little bit more in the beginning, and a lot of times you can taper off. So again, Stop is just another pain reliever. It's more for general pain. It helps with headaches, and obviously has some great, amazing botanicals in here that are basically all natural pain relievers. So I'm going to get right into HPY, because I know that's one that everyone wants to hear about. And this is the surprise. And aren't you guys excited to get this one? Like in a couple, is it like a couple weeks maybe? I actually have this here. So I was one of the summer academy contestants, and Tina and Kelly have one too. And I'm kind of hoarding this. I'm kind of want to keep it all to myself. So I've actually tasted this, and I've seen the benefits of what it can do. And to me, it's like a combination between brain, GTS, and relax. It gives you, I felt immediate mental clarity, but I felt a calmness come over me, but I also felt like I wanted to get up and do something, like an energy. And I think it's going to really live up to its name, Happy. So here's some great things about Happy, HPY. It actually serves as a source of energy for your body and mind. It helps manage daily stress and depression, which, hello, we all need that. It actually can maintain a healthy appetite and boost metabolism, right? Who doesn't need more of that? It helps with healthy sleep patterns, and it activates your mental awareness, focus, and concentration. And this one was kind of a shocker to me. It helps with PMS symptoms in women. And there are actually 3 key ingredients I want to talk about that we haven't really seen in some of the other drops. One of the reasons why we're so excited about this is because for the first time ever, we get to use the DNA of hemp seeds. So there's a lot of talk, right, about CBD and hemp, right? Like you see a CBD store on every corner. Like people love it, right? Because they know the health benefits, they know it works. But people are also don't like to use it, or maybe are afraid to use it because of the possible THC or the mind-altering effect. There's no stimulants or allergens in plant DNA. So we will not get any of that with the hemp seeds, but we will get all the benefits. Hemp seeds are actually an excellent source of minerals and vitamins, especially magnesium, and it's full of fiber, and it has tons of omegas in it, which I didn't realize, omega-3, omega-6. It's an antioxidant. It improves immune function. It reduces appetite, helps with weight management, protects the brain. So dementia, Alzheimer, this is going to be another amazing one. Helps with heart, reduces inflammation, and it relieves rheumatoid arthritis and improves sleep. So those are all the benefits of hemp. Ginkgo biloba, we did talk about that one. It's in BRN. That one helps with anxiety, depression. It actually is the one ingredient that does help with PMS. Ginkgo biloba actually helps with eye health. So if you have people who are wanting something for their eyes, look for something with ginkgo in it. Helps with headaches, asthma, again, brain health, ADHD, and fibromyalgia. So have you guys ever heard of an ingredient called, I'm going to butcher this, harpagophytum? Look at that. I know, right? Look at it. You can see it in that picture. It's actually just another name for devil's claw. So it's a new ingredient we haven't been using, and devil's claw actually relieves joint and muscle pain, arthritis. It helps with urinary tract infections and kidney function. Also helps with ulcers, boils, skin sores, blood diseases. It's actually a natural anticoagulant. So think about people who are prone to blood clots or thicker than normal blood. This would be a great one. And again, devil's claw is a natural appetite suppressant. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to do for people. I am just really excited about it. I would have you guys all raise your hands, but I know everyone's going to raise their hands, so don't do that because we all want it. And Michelle, would you like to finish this up?
Sure. So Tina and I are so happy to have been able to share the science and innovation. APLGO is really a front runner in supplements. They are proving that, botanicals, fruits, vegetables, things that are abundantly around us, we actually can harness those and use them in a different way. It's really exciting to see so many people's health improve. It's exciting to see the benefits that they're having, their children are having in health and wellness. Our sleep deprivation is gone. Our anxiety is decreased. There's just so many benefits that plants and botanicals we've been able to harness in these drops. So, I encourage you to get with whoever invited you on this call, follow up with them. Taking responsibility for your health is so easy. Being able to, and I don't say that lightly because I'm a cancer nurse and I know as a cancer survivor that, taking responsibility for your health can seem overwhelming, but APLGO has put these drops in your hand. They've made it easy to kind of bridge that gap from where you are to where you want to be and to get fast, instant gratification nutrition that goes directly to the cells. So we are so excited to have shared this with you. You have a choice. You have the ability to make change, and APLGO is here for you. So thank you. Thanks for having us, Tina.
And I just want to add to that real quick, because I just thought of a statistic that's going to be mind-blowing. So our healthcare system spends $3.4 trillion on treating people's sickness and less than 5% on treating wellness. So think about that, right? You're either going to pay for sickness or you're going to pay for health. So it's never been a better time to be preventative and proactive and be an advocate for your health. So thank you again so much for coming with us tonight and letting us share our knowledge with you all. And
thank you, Tina and Michelle. That was incredible. I think there was so much value packed into these amazing drops. I think people love them so much and they don't even know why they love them and why they work so well. And I think the information you shared cleared that up for so many people. And we're super grateful to have you guys in the APL USA team, and love you both and can't wait to see you.
Thanks, Tina.
Yeah, and we can stick around for a few minutes